Hmm. Well, on one hand, it would be really nice for BB to actually be alive. But I probably can't use the clean magic. But it would probably be too positive, too cute. This should now lock down and not let me in. Yeah, I can't access. As expected. And I just don't think this is the kind of game that would give me a hard-feeling ending with Lou becoming back alive when I take it out of the container. The equipment is gone. What is there really to say now? I guess this is where I should do my thoughts about this game. My end conclusion and all of that. But normally I would take extra time after the game to go over every aspect of the game, to just recap stuff, go over everything like a list, evaluation list, and tell you what really is good. But I would guess for this story, you mostly know what I think of it. So I'm giving you the short version that the story is okay to good at the first parts of the game. Right up until we go to the third map. And then everything just becomes this smudge. It's shit, this wannabe story, this absolute mangled mess of a... What is it even? It's a fever dream at best. The game completely breaks every rule that it has. Everything you learned. And danges it right in front of you and wants a prize for it. But in the first parts of the game, this game is so intriguing and fun. Which is why it's so heavy when it betrays everything it teached you. The only game that gave me the same trouble was Days Gone. Where the first half of the game is really freaking good, and the second half, after you cross the mountains, is so freaking bad and boring and lackluster. It's so annoying. But here, you cannot make that clear distinction. Here, it's much worse. The game is absolutely horrendous. It tries... It doesn't even try, that's the worst part. You're just getting fed information that nothing really was... It wasn't even getting hinted at. Man, I already spent so much time explaining all of this. There's so much. It's like I said, was it before or after Higgs? After Higgs. You know, my strongest rule, the rule no story, no game, no movie should ever break, is you establish your world, you give it rules, and you shall respect those rules. You can remorph the rules into different shapes or give them different purpose. It is fine as long as you teach them. You know, I made the comparison before, the combat system. Combat system here shows this clearly. You are not allowed to kill. You don't know who has dooms, who hasn't. And everyone you kill will has a chance to void out. And to just bombshell the area. And that's why you don't kill. So your first weapon is the bowler gun, which binds your enemy and makes you able to kick them unconscious. That also weaves in well into the overworld, because at some point some other bandits come along, free them, and they keep on hunting on the nearby caravans, the other runners and stuff. It all makes sense. Then the game gives you lethal weapons, and I really like what they do. Like, they give you this World War I story, where you absolutely go blast and go bloodthirsty, and you don't even, or at least I didn't even think twice about using a lethal weapon. It was hell yeah, next time I run across mules, I'm gonna blast. Then I came across mules. And the game lectured me that each time someone dies, at an absolute minimum another BT is on the world, wreaking havocs. And in worst case scenario, a void out. So be careful. You have the option, but you shouldn't take it. That is a rewrite of the rules. The player has the option to go full lethal and boards to the wall. You shouldn't do it, but you can. The game of course then makes these mistakes and gives you an assault rifle that shoots non-lethal ammunition. I see that as a mistake, as like you already have weapons that are pretty good. Like maybe have like a you know, a riot gun that shoots big rubber bullets. You know, it doesn't shoot far, so it's highly imprecise or has only medium to low range. You know, and you knock people out with that. But then they give you the paintball gun that shoots rubber balls, and that is, yeah. But you don't really, yeah. Like I said, it would have been nice if the tempo changed for the player, but it's fine nonetheless. Yeah. But we were talking rules, and there were so many rules broken. What BTs are, how they are connected to the world, what a beach is, on what even the ground is we were underneath, what personality traits were from certain people. The worst was probably when Higgs put the mask on Amelia. Because first she was worried and cried out for help by us, and then Higgs put on the mask and suddenly she was a doomsayer. And preached about how everything must end in a deep voice. A dark voice, I should rather say. Especially with what I know now, that was so cringe. I really liked Higgs. How he was posing. He was cool and yeah, he seemed level-headed. But then he was just a poser at the end. That's just sad. I like and dislike dead men in equal parts. On one hand, he is the tool of the story to give you exposés about stuff, especially at the start. But he gets way too comfortable telling me information and undermining the top brass. Sure, there was the rule of, a secret is a secret for a reason and stuff. But your boss is your boss. I just don't understand how Sam befriends people, because he doesn't talk. He talks, but he doesn't talk. He mostly makes expressions. I think in the dialogue, the speech he gave at the end, that's probably triple the text he says as with the entire other parts of the game. Yeah. Fragile was cool. She was awkward, she was what you expect from someone who was beaten down and terrorized. Forsaken by everyone, but still tries to atone for her sins. The sins she acquired by trusting people. By trusting people she put her trust in before, and they'd never wronged her. Yeah. The question comes to mind, if Higgs really was just being manipulated, why was he so cruel to Fragile? He should have just taken the bomb from her and be done with it. Why did he make her run through the acid rain? Just for the cruelty of it. And that is really dope by this game. This game is not scared of being cruel. And it has been a while since I played a game that was this cruel to so many characters. Still remember at the start, you know, when you go to corpse disposal and they need your help with the truck and everything. You go into this thunderstorm and they want to scare you with the BT powers and everything. I still find it dumb that he tried to get his colleague from under the truck. It was clearly, 2/3 of the leg was beneath the entire truck that was flipped. There was no way. No way. He should have just shot his mate in the head and got out of there. Because he knew BTs are drawn to movement and everything. Man. But then that the when the BT dragged him into the sky and he took out his knife and absolutely butchered his lungs and heart. Bruh. What a wicked and cruel scene. Hartman is just a yes man. He's there to be your boss. He isn't a hard boss. He's friendly with you, but keeps his distance because he knows what role he is. That is all fine. And he then later had this subplot of being related to Clifford. And even tried to shoot Emily. It's so weird that he tried to shoot her. Didn't make any sense. It just should never have happened. Also the backward-ass way how Cliff didn't just executed him on the beach. This makes no sense. He should have killed him like stepping on a twig. Or how hard he got betrayed by that guy. Man. And then Cliff got distracted by Bridget. Still don't understand how Cliff and Bridget work together after that. Mama and Lockney. That was a really heartwarming and heart-tearing story. The part with the baby, yo, is even shaking me right now a little bit. Because I know similar stories. So that one went right under my skin. And I even had to recompose myself multiple times. And the entire rekindling act with to become family again with Lockney, man. That was a great storyline. I guess Bridget sucks. The only scene that is really worth talking about is the bed scene, where we before got informed that they had a massive breakup. It does suck. It's good, but I don't like how she lunges at him. I understand why she does it, because they talk again, they come to the same stop point, and everything goes to shit again between those two. So in an act of desperation, because she knows she has no time left in this world, and lunges at him to hopefully finally get through that he has to do this. There's no one else that can do this. It's understandable. I don't like it. But I definitely can't see humans do that to their children. Desperation is a bitch. Especially if you have the right mentor for the job and he doesn't want to do it. You have similar scenarios in general parenthood, where you have to be mean to your child, even though you don't want to. You know you have to break his heart, or her, but the child will be stronger because of it. It can be as simple as just taking the spoon away because it plays around with food. You know? Nothing too big. Don't get creative here, right? So... who's left? I don't like Emilia. Up until the point where she reveals that she is the Grand Theatress for Sam's journey, and she instigated everything to make him do this, even controlling the terrorists. She's an okay character. Mysterious. I didn't completely caught up on to her story. I had some minor hints here and there. It was okay, but there was always something feeling of. And in each scene, Sam and her were talking before. It was always that she was very emotional with her expressions when she was looking at him, but the moment she moved her face away from him, she became stone-faced or even annoyed that she had to talk to Sam. I don't like that. That's why I also don't really buy into the emotional wave at the end of the game. In general, I never thought I would like having this little interaction with NPCs. Because the way it was structured was very limited, since everyone was just in his bunker. But I never got bored of their dialogue. Sure, there's some dialogue I wanted to skip, because I've heard it multiple times, or I just wanted to grind for materials. But each time I did their story missions, everything sounded intriguing. Or interesting, I should rather say, not intriguing. Because I got told a part of this world. And it made sense. It was so cool. And even so, upgrading towers and stuff didn't really add anything active. Like, you only get holograms and music to play. Which is cute. But I would have... The only thing that really improves is the protection tower against timefall. That's the only thing that where there's this, that it's you get better repair spray. Yeah. Also, I think the health bar it gets a bit bigger, but they stand for so long. Like, I built one thing and it took about 70 hours to decay. So, maybe in quotation marks only 60 hours, but man, if you build something, it stands there for quite a while. Even ladders and anchors stay for almost forever. So, even so, I've rarely used anchors and ladders. I like them a lot. They give the player so much free wiggle room. They make so much traversing terrain easier. I just was cringe and did it my way. But I could have made everything in this game so much easier if I used all of the tools that it gave me. But this is not a overly complex game or a hard game, so I didn't want it. Wanted it to be easier. So I stuck with what I had. Sam is in a way my biggest problem with this game. Second biggest, because the media is way worse. He rarely talks to people. There were definitely missed opportunities where world building could be done, or some personal here and there. I never really felt like Sam had to talk. So the dialogue was really written well for that. Never had to talk, that was really nice. but I wished for him to maybe be more responsive. But if you think about grinding quests to just deliver the post packages, probably having him talk more would subtract from the experience. Yeah, because like the voice lines that I started skipping, you would hear it over and over again. A lot of repetitive would occur, so it's fine what they did. But I really would have liked to have more input from Sam to know what sort of character he is. Because the biggest problem the game has with Sam is that it is inspired by The Walking Dead. Where this actor plays the character Daryl, and Daryl was so beloved by the community in the fandom of The Walking Dead that they didn't rotate him out when it was his time to go. They kept him in right up until, I think, around the end of season 2 he was supposed to go. Now they're like at season 10, 11, and he's still in, so... Ooh, spoiler. It's a good character. I can see why they wanted to keep him in. But the game basically took a save state from The Walking Dead and put it into here. There's no character development of Sam. He just is who he is. I still don't understand why he would even help Bridges. Made no sense. And at the end we had this beautiful united vibe that everyone is friendly with each other, everyone is good with each other. That vibe was really nice. But in other words, I got manipulated well at the end. Because Sam only got pressured into doing stuff. And always had the option of going away and to just not do it. You know? He didn't need to do anything in this game. He could have just crawled under his rock again and be good. But the only way I could simulate this in this game is because is me stop playing the game. And you could ask, yeah, why does anyone do anything at all anyways, right? But the game didn't give Sam a reason to help, and in doing that, it didn't give me a reason to help. But the story only works when Sam wants, if Sam wants to help. It feels unnatural and is revolting the right word? Like it feels just forced because the character never got time to develop or to tell us what he is. Like I said, they took the save state from The Walking Dead and loaded it in here. Clifford and BB. I would have liked if the story of Clifford would have just been a state chaos. Because this is not necessary. Everything I said before, I think that's how it is. What I'm saying now is something I would have wished for, and I'm egotistical in that regard. So don't take it for full. But I would have liked if Cliff just stayed a phenomenon. If the first theory just stayed true. That he was just someone in a stress event, a mass dying, and that is why all of these other entities were in his beach as well. That it couldn't calm down because there was just too much chaos in it, and too much hurt and pain. And it was an outlier, so to speak. But they also gave us the connection to BB, which wouldn't be bad. Like we knew BB units are tools. They're not necessarily mechanic, because Deadman informed us about a lowered growth and stuff, that BB units would only last for a year. Sometimes a little bit longer, but a year is about the average. So when it was no longer ruled out that Clifford was a thing of the past, just a phenomenon, that he could have been very close in time and everything, and he was a revengeful spirit going to hunt for his lost child, that is all acceptable. But what I simply cannot accept is him working with me. Because that threw every motivation he had out of the window. Because he suddenly didn't want to protect his child, or be with his child, or reclaim his child. He wanted to nuke the world. Like, what the frick? It's one of those things where I said it before, like we could have talked to him and got him to our side. We even signaled to him that we are taking good care of BB. Every time we beat him down, there was an interaction with him where we absolutely stopped being hostile. But then Cliff reached out to BB, and then after a few moments we just got kicked out of the supercell. But we signaled him so much peaceful intentions that we are taking care of BB as best as we can. Man. When intentions are forced on a character, that is one of the most irritating things. But Clifford was so freaking cool. Everything in the design around the levels, as a cinematic spectacle, it was great. It was so freaking great. I had a lot of fun with those, especially the first one, because I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and then the second one knew what to do, so a little bit of the kick was gone. But it was suddenly World War II, uniforms were different, environment was different, weapons were a little bit different but still the same. No, it was really freaking cool. Man, this game's graphics, animation, and sound system are so fucking good. The worst part is legit this moss and green that is around us. Because if we were to go a little bit back, maybe you can see even the PNG that is right beneath me. Like the green there just looks so bad. At the moment the moss is up on top of everything and stuff, it ain't that bad. But man, the animation quality on everything and everyone was so smooth. So highly detailed. Man, they tried way too hard into being, yeah, basically a theater. And especially sometimes they went extra hard in their animation quality and to make you uncomfortable, because you know, like one of my biggest hate bonus is the scene with where Bridget dies and Sam gets tasked. How uncomfortable it makes me that they don't respect his phobia. You know, when she dies and gets dragged back into the bed, there's this black goop on the ground. The doctors try to revive her and fail. And then Deadman and Die Hard pressure Sam and get closer and closer to him and want to pressure him into doing the job. It's so uncomfortable and so well created, because it's easy to not make the player or viewer not so uncomfortable. It is hard to really irritate one to that degree, because you can really feel how Sam just wants to get out. And there's so many other scenes. Like body language of the actors is so good. It's simply incredible. And you can also, I'm probably repeating this just in a different way, but you can see how well directed everything is. There's not a single scene that feels unnatural. The director gave his actors very precise and clear instructions. That is awesome. Awesome director and awesome actors. Too bad I hate this story. Yeah. Weapons. Weapons are cool. The game lets you do what you want to do unless you match up against a level 2 BT. Because suddenly boulders become ineffective. You cannot cut them down. Like I talk about the fiery boys here. Like the big boys. No, like you have the normal BT that takes 50 blood to kill, then you have fat guy that takes 100 blood, and then you have big boy, you know, that is as large as a skyscraper, and you just have to blast him until he falls over, right? And then you have fiery boy. Fiery boy cannot be a bullet, cannot be shot down, grenades are useless. All you can do is go there and cut him with your little knife at your of your wristband. And that's just way too annoying. I tried it twice, I think. failed both times because I already have trouble telling which direction the BT is facing, even with the normal ones. But the fiery ones have so many effects laid onto them that I cannot even make out their face most of the time. Or their shoulders. And yeah. The sneaking up behind the BT just wasn't an option. Which is why when I found out that I can bulla BTs and then cut them with my knife, that was cool. I suddenly had a big smile on my face because that was a layer of combat I didn't know, and I will keep in mind for future endeavors. Also, it was something I already knew since I was fighting mules, bound them and kicked them when they were bound. But I basically rediscovered it, and it was simply amazing. Weapon scaling, maybe? But there is no real weapon scaling. All you get is more munitions for your weapons. And for hermetic weapons, for blood weapons, you get to charge them to a higher value. The biggest downside was the transition from grenade launcher to the four rocket launcher. 4-barrel rocket launcher. That really sucked. That was way too quick. You get a grenade launcher at a leg with, I think, 2 or 3 of the big BTs. Yeah, the big boys. So you are probably being rewarded for using it at that area, but I didn't care at that point. I wanted to know where the next quest was taking me. Because I really liked the climbing challenge, so I wasn't what's the word? Curious enough to find out what this thing could do. Also, in previous engages, a grenade does 50 blood damage. And maybe 25 in the splash. And I don't think the grenade damage will be increased if I shoot it with the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher only would give me precision to launch it further or directly at my target. But then suddenly we had the hermetic rocket launcher. And I instantly knew, yeah, we are about to boss fight. It was dumb. Because we just got an incredibly powerful weapon, and suddenly we have the next insane weapon that is way more powerful even. Yeah. Just didn't make sense. Or was way too fast. Maybe there was just content cut because they were running out of time or money, who knows. It was definitely way too fast. Yeah. I haven't talked about Hardman, since Hardman is pretty much the same as Deadman. As where Deadman is more about biology and how to fight BTs, and Hardman is more science and history. So they pretty much fill the same role. So it feels different. But I like the stiffness in Hardman because it showed how efficient he had to be. It wasn't just autism. It was like he needed to be as efficient as possible. Like his entire life was on the clock in for the search of his family. I cannot really walk my head around how that is really possible, or how he could do extra research. Besides autism would help a lot doing that sort of thing. Also those wrist holographics, you know, that replace an PC interface are probably pretty dope and supportive, because he only has 21 minutes in real life before he goes streaming again. Yeah. Also the stiffness would definitely drain out his brain for every little bit of juice they had. Which also explains the stiffness that he has. It all makes sense. Especially under the umbrella of autism. Yeah. Can I give this game a score? I think I cannot. Normally I would balance the scale between graphics and story, like they are the heaviest two components. So you still can get a 4 or a 5 with a really bad story. But here it's just not possible to have any resemblance of good. Yeah. Right. Road building. I'm a sucker for tedious, repetitive, dumb tasks. So I really enjoyed shuffling my resources and building the bridges and roads. Especially since you were able to combine it with normal packaging. Bro, that is the ultimate Skinner box right there. That makes my brain go happy. Bro, I blinked and 12 hours were gone of me just building a bridge, a highway. It was so stupid how much I enjoyed it. And the amount of sadness that I felt when I noticed that the bridges are not built forever, that they were decaying. Man. But then I loaded a truck full of iron, metal, and drove around and just fixed every pole up, easy peasy. That were another 4 hours just gone like that. But you saw what you were working for, and that is what makes it so gratifying. Is I think the word. It makes you feel you see what you're doing, so you had purpose. Yeah. From the side characters, even though I haven't interacted with the musician or the one guy in map 2 that is in the crevice, I interacted a lot, like the note points that I really got attached to as a distribution point on this map, because everything was just around every little side quest and stuff. It was the first time I just blinked and invested like 5 hours just side questing and getting him 5 stars. I just did so much shit for this distribution point here. It made no sense. Then the distribution point for South North City, it was just so well placed that everything just flooded into it, and I could distribute the resources from there. Felt so nice. The Elder, on the other hand, he felt way too out of place. That is probably one part of environmentalist storytelling they probably did well. Because the Elder even had this meme going about him that he was just old and nobody cared about him. Because he was so out of place. So it always brought a smile to me when I stockpiled lost cargo for him and then brought him like 60 packages all at once. It was always nice. Yeah. In general, just the Lake Knot to South Knot, well, that is one distribution South Knot. It's such a nice gameplay loop between those 4 knots. Like it's Lake Knot, Engineer, Craftsman, Distribution Center. You can pendle those so long. And also the farming loop for mules and BTs is pretty dope around there. I guess while we are at farming, and also this is probably the last point, are the jellyfish. The balloon boys. Because I don't really know what to make of them. On one hand, they are a really nice farm spot for crystals, and you get some equipment from them, which is cute. But they don't really have a place in this story. They don't really make sense. But they look cool. And they got used in that one boss, which I found awesome. Like that looked so dope. And shocked me every time it suddenly 50 jellyfishes got brought onto the battlefield. Changed the environment a little bit. Did I talk about Higgs? And the short version I see was pretty cool at the start. Like I always say, it's like those cringe gamers that always shit talk, but you need to go through 1000 of those shit lords before you find someone who actually can do stuff, and Higgs is the one that can actually do stuff. That made him so cool. But then at the end he just was cringe. Like he was that Xbox 360 poser screamer kid. Holy shit, man, he was so cringe. Yeah. It felt a little bit weird when the story suddenly was like, yeah, he also was just manipulated. But he had too much heart in the things he was doing. You know? Like I said before, he let Fragile run through an acid rain in order to save the city. Like, that is too cruel to not be a defining character trait. He didn't get manipulated to do that. Yeah. I guess third map kinda boring. Just go from A to B. Snowy bits really looked amazing. I really liked the extreme attention to detail in this game. Not only detail on the suits, but also for the environment, because, you know, sleeping like this is often ignored. Like, a lot of things don't really make sense story-wise, but they are gaming elements. So when they had a death event, if you go to sleep while you are in a snowstorm and you don't have heat packs, that was cool. Oh, the death bubble. When you have died, you are underwater. I would have wished that they would have done more with it. Being more representative of where you are, in, uh, putting stuff in more indicative of where you are in this story. But the main mechanic that I found really cool about it, that's what I found out when I died on the snow mountain, is you can inspect the map around you, your surroundings, without any weather interference, and plan a route. That was so cool. Ooh.